Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier. I know. 1:30 might be good.
You can make a sure so people keep it to that. 1:30 Friday?
Good duck.
Like what time?
He can't.
Thank you. That's why I was like, I apologize.
They have a quorum?
Yeah. Turk can make it, I can make it.
Yeah, there's your mailbox.
The mayors can make it.
But
Yes, I do.
You know what? I shoot.
Anybody else need one? Doc, you need a
I knew that when I heard it.
Good, thanks, Jim.
appreciate it. Yeah. I know you get dry in here, don't you? Yeah. Is that something that happens to you other places too, or is it just? Yeah.
Yeah, she'll bring one to me. This to me when it wore off.
Ready, Mike? Ready?
Colleen, I gave him mine, so I'll take that one. I just gave him mine. Thank you.
Okay, this is the regular city council meeting for the city of Joliet for Tuesday, June 18th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. It is chaired by Mayor Bob Oderkirk. The invocation will be given by Reverend Curtis Sr. of Brown Chapel AME Church of Joliet at 1502 East Mills Road, after which he will lead us in a pledge to the flag. Please rise.
Let us pray. O Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. We thank you. We laud you, we extol you, and exalt you. We acknowledge you as the true and living God. We thank you for the city called Joliet. We thank you for our mayor. We thank you for these council persons. We thank you for its leadership. We ask now in your darling son, Jesus' name, that you would bless this city, that you, O God, would cause us to grow and continue to flourish, that you would pour out your spirit in such a way that this would be a place that would be a beacon of light upon a hill. We ask now that you would allow your peace that surpasses all understanding to rest here in Joliet. Additionally, we ask that you would provide and continue to protect as only you can. Thank you that this summer we will see less murders. We thank you that this summer we will see love and unity prevailing in this city. Now, Holy Spirit, we ask that you would manifest your presence in this meeting. Be with us tonight is our prayer. We thank you for every support staff person, every leader, every person who gives to make this city what it is. And we ask in your darling son, Jesus' name again, that you would continue to bless and keep us as only you can. It's in Jesus Christ's name we do pray with thanksgiving and expectation. Let us all who agree say amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you very much.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Oderkirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a proclamation declaring June 29th as Joliet Pride Fest Day.
Thanks. This one, yeah.
Jenny
Esther's here too.
Jenny, come on up. Don't you hide. Don't be hiding back there. I know.
She and I go way back here, and I don't know why she want to hide out from me. Okay, great. Proclamation. Whereas Joliet is ranked by the Human Rights Campaign as the third friendliest Illinois city for the LGBTQ community, it is an amazing place to raise a family. Joliet has a strong social policies along with welcoming businesses and services that encourage LGBTQ families to live in Joliet. These families spend money on real estate in local shops, on taxes that support education, city service, and a vibrant life. Joliet Pride Fest was created to celebrate the history, heritage, and unique contributions of the LGBTQ community in Joliet. The Centers for Disease Control recognizes that LGBTQ teens are at a higher risk to be victims of violence and have an increased suicide rate, and said it is therefore imperative that young people in the community, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, feel valued, safe, and empowered, and supported by their peers, educators, and community leaders. Joliet is dedicated to fostering acceptance of all its citizens and preventing discrimination, bullying based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and supports diversity, inclusion, equality, and a strong sense of community for all in Joliet. The month of June was chosen for LGBT Pride Month around the world to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred at the end of June in 1969. Now therefore I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby proclaim June as Joliet Pride Month and encourage everyone to recognize and appreciate the contributions of our LGBTQ, our neighbors in our community. Signed June 18th, 19, Mayor Robert Odekirk. Everybody gonna run.
On behalf of the Joliet Pride Fest Committee, I'd like to thank you for this proclamation. Like we said, the Stonewall riots occurred 50 years ago, and so basically everything has changed in my lifetime. When I grew up in rural Indiana, I couldn't imagine a time where I could be out and open and be myself in the community. Like many young people, we migrated to the large cities where we felt more accepted and safe. But now we're coming out into the suburbs and towns like Joliet, where we see that there's new opportunity for us to live our lives amongst our neighbors. We are your neighbors, we are your teachers, your doctors, your lawyers, your computer technicians like me. We are just normal people who want to live a normal life in a city that welcomes us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next this evening, we have Mayor Odekirk appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending Nancy Henriksen, Amitra Ostrom, and Lynn Poper Samalia to be reappointed to the library board. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First, we have Mary Beth Gannon.
Hello, Council and Mayor. I just have a couple quick comments. Mostly, Ms. Reardon, with all due respect, since you are so new to council, and everyone else up here has worked with Marty for years, you've only been here 2 months at best. I would respectfully request that you abstain from voting tonight. I think it's only the moral and ethical thing to do. And lastly, Council, you saw a packed house here last night. Everyone here, other than maybe 3 people, want Marty here. Please think about that, because these are the voters. These are your constituents. Please do the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Bernie Spieler.
Hi, I'm Bernie Spieler, former president of the St. Pat's Neighborhood Association and also the founder. And I'm here to talk tonight. I suppose I'm supposed to give you my address, 7 Caesar Street. Okay. Anyway, I'm here to speak on behalf of Marty to keep as interim city manager and eventually city manager. And I want to just give a little bit of background on that, not regarding exactly him, but through the years that I have worked here with the city, with the city staff and the mayor and city manager, through all the years, I have seen different city managers come and go through all my years. And I always predicted a lot of them that were out-of-town people. They never lasted. They would stay here for a short time, get their big pay, and then they would retire, just like this last city manager just did, Hales. I mean, he practically stole us all the money from us, and then he just left. Well, we don't want that to happen again. So I would like to say that I would think that we would save an awful lot of money if we didn't have to hire another interim city manager or start looking for applications and everything else when we already have an interim city manager. And it would save us a lot of money, all the taxpayers, everybody. So when we say the city, that means us. So I just would like to get this across that it's very important to save some of that money. We need it for so many other things. Why would you waste it on looking for another city manager when this man has worked, this is the 2nd time he's taken the place of a city manager. I remember working with Tom Thanis when he was the attorney, and then he was made city manager, which was, I thought was very good. But then all of a sudden he was gone. And I worked with John Mesra for many years, like almost 20 years. And I thought that he did a very good job. I worked very well with him, and so did our neighborhood. So I would just like to get this across to all of you, that this is the reason that I'm here tonight, to help out wherever I can. And since I've been, let's see, I'm 81 now, going on 82. So I didn't even think I'd have to be down here in the city council meetings anymore, but I guess I do. I just haven't given up yet. So I just, anyway, this is I said I would do a brief speech, and that's what I'm doing, very brief. So I want to thank all of you for listening and giving me the opportunity to come up here and talk to you. And again, I'd like to say, I'd like to keep Marty. Okay?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, mayors, members of the City Council. I'm here to talk about a man who I've known personally and professionally for over 20 years.
So can you name and address, please, for
My
the
name
record?
is Joseph Gillis, sir, Gilles.
Thank you.
And while I could speak to his ethics and character, I really don't believe I need to, because they stand for themselves. I'm here because I'm a little puzzled with the action that the city has taken. We've experienced a lot of traditions lately, and those traditions include growth, prosperity, and I hate to see us sliding back to the smoke-filled rooms at Al's Steakhouse that were prevalent so many years ago for so long. I really don't understand what is at play here. And I ask that question on a rhetorical basis. And I'm hoping tonight that the city council will explain how this is in the city's best interest to replace Marty Shanahan. I'm just having trouble seeing it from your point of view. So I'm asking that question in all fairness. The city of Joliet is the crossroads of America. It always has been. Our future is bright. We have a lot of major work ahead of us. We've got the I-80 project, we've got crossroads on the south side of town. And with all this growth and with all this development, I think we need somebody at the helm that's got the experience and know-how to get the job done. I rely on you to do what's in the best interest of me. And that trust runs both ways, and it takes time to build that trust. That's why I'm asking for that answer tonight. I'm trying to get my head around why you're making the decision that you're making. So please remember, you took the oath of office for a reason, and that reason should transcend any politics or personality disagreements, because as a public servant, I hold you to a much higher standard. I don't pretend to know how to run a city, but I know Marty is perfectly capable of doing so. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. My name is Karen Ward, 700 Douglas, Joliet. I wasn't going to speak here tonight, but I felt the need to say something. As many of you know, my family has a long history serving the people of Joliet, Will County, and the state of Illinois. I'm here to ask why you feel the need to waste money to find a new city manager. Are we missing something? To me, a flashy city manager is what we've had before. One that has to praise themselves instead of the person that we have now, who obviously works diligently behind the scenes to get things done, while as well helping others and making a difference in his free time. As a survivor of domestic violence, I was so thankful that our city manager took the time to participate, give up a lot of his time to dance in the Angelica event for Guardian Angel Community Services. And I'm sure he does a lot of other things that he doesn't ask for recognition for. There's a lot of things that our city needs. I ask you to stop, think, and consider all the improvements that have been made because of him, and all the things we need to do right now instead of wasting this time. Not a search for a city manager. I don't know him well, but I know a person of integrity when I see them.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'm going to read something so I don't blabber. I'd like to speak on Council Memo 321-19, Ordinance declaring certain properties public nuisances. I would like to thank the Mayor and the City Council for your service, and I applaud the work that has been done to remarket downtown not only as an entertainment center, but also as a residential district. Even though our city has made tremendous strides, I have a concern about the depopulation of some of our older communities, namely those on the east side and the near west side of town. It is becoming all too common to see unique and historic homes cited as public nuisances, fast-tracking them to be demolished. This raises concerns for me for a few reasons. Number one, One of the most marketable features of Joliet's older neighborhoods in the eyes of visionaries and innovators are its urban appeal and historic architecture. We are the only city in Will County coupled with historic and urban charm, making it unique from the rest of the surrounding communities. It is important to note that Joliet's urban allure extends beyond the boundaries of the city center into its east and near west side neighborhoods. In the estimation of many, these neighborhoods are charming and oozing with potential. What is troubling is that many of these homes are being systematically removed from the face of our landscape. Once these rare buildings disappear from our city, they are gone forever, and with them disappears one of the most marketable aspects of our historic neighborhoods. Number 2, after these properties are demolished, in most cases, the lots are left vacant and no redevelopment follows. This is concerning because it implies that there is no active strategy to market the potential for residential or economic growth in these communities, leaving the residents feeling neglected and discarded. Other cities have aggressive recruiting campaigns to populate their subdivisions. Unfortunately, this tends to occur in newer developments. Why should this type of advertisement be exclusive to newer and more expensive communities when there is a market of home buyers that live in Cook County looking to relocate their families to more affordable communities like Joliet? By preserving older homes and marketing these neighborhoods properly, the city and its residents will start to see an increase in residential and economic vitality, which will increase the property values, resulting in an increase in demand for retail and residential space downtown. Number 3, and I'm going to finish up soon. Local governments of other communities have acquired homes such as these. Instead of bulldozing them, they have found creative ways of putting them into the hands of non-for-profit organizations who in turn convert them into affordable homes for families to occupy, providing security and stability for these families, but more importantly, for the entire community. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that recently a non-for-profit in Chicago acquired and rehabbed 100 homes in a 20-block radius in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood. If the city of Joliet can deem homes such as these as public nuisances, citing them for demolition for not having siding and hanging gutters, why can't the city find a way to strategically put these properties into the hands of organizations such as the aforementioned to be rehabbed and available for good families that are committed to raising their children in these older parts of town? I, Jeffrey Allen Yoko Grimes, a humble and concerned resident of the East Side, respectfully ask that the city of Joliet put a moratorium on the demolition of houses that are deemed as public nuisances until other viable alternatives have been explored and made available for the preservation and redevelopment of older and unique homes and buildings in the city of Champions. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I think you guys are doing a good job.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none. Next is Mayor Pro Tem. It's recommended Councilman Dickinson serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the term July 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye. Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
You promised to behave yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Aye.
Council committee reports, Finance Committee report.
The Finance Committee comprised of Councilwoman Reardon, Councilman Mudrin, and myself met at 5:30 this evening here in the Executive Conference Room to review the following items. The first thing we actually looked at was an award of a contract for the comprehensive benefit consulting broker services for insurance, and I'd ask Councilman Mudrin to address that issue.
For the past number of years, the city has used Gallagher Benefit Services to help with any negotiations directly with Blue Cross and any other services in regards to health benefits. The proposals went out to a large number of individuals, 19 brokerage agencies, 285 individuals had a chance to bid on this. The city received back 6 sealed bids from Chicagoland brokers and advisors. The bid of two brokerage firms came in, Assurance and Gallagher Benefits. Gallagher Benefits is the current broker that has been being used. Their contract was accepted at $76,000 on an annual basis with an option to continue it for 4 more years. So it'd be a 5-year contract. The services in the past have been of excellent quality, and the staff has no complaints or issues with them. We had 2 Gallagher representatives at the Finance Committee meeting to answer any of our questions, and it is our recommendation to move it on to the full council.
Thank you. We also reviewed the monthly finance report, personnel summary, travel expense report, and invoices paid report. All found them in order and recommend their approval. We had a brief update on our fleet, our public works and utilities fleet, and we'll be getting more information on that next month. Mr. Gadati informed us that the city audit is complete. He should receive the report at the end of this week, and as in the past, it will be presented to the full council and with a representative from Wilmer Rogers, Duran, and Ruzon for discussion. And if anybody has any questions at that time, they can ask the CPAs. Also, we've asked Mr. Gadati that we've made several or more than several amendments to our budget this year. We're almost half through our year, so that from July going forth, he will give us a running total of what we have dipped into reserves for and what we have remaining in reserves, so that we can keep a good track of that. So that'll be a new report that'll be coming out next month. And that concludes the report.
Public Service Committee report.
Excuse me. The Public Service met yesterday here in the Executive Council Room at 4:30. In attendance were committee members Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. After tossing around terms like tuberculation and monopolyureate ammonia, after throwing around alphabet soup like SCADA and DWTS, essentially we looked at 2 contracts, 4 change orders, and 1 ordinance and resolution, all of which were basically housekeeping, including buying a new stock of water meters for homes. And we vetted them, and unanimously all were approved for recommendation to the full council for the full council's approval. And that would be the conclusion of my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Stadium Committee report.
Stadium Committee met today at 4:30 here in the conference room. Members, Councilwoman Quillman, Councilman Turk, and myself were there. Also in attendance was Councilwoman Reardon. We had a report from John Wilson, who's the Vice President at the Slammer, with the Slammers team. He mentioned since March 1st, they had 239 events there, not including any of the Slammers games. He was hired last fall. He had 3 objectives there: to have more activities at the stadium, find a naming right participant, and a concert. All 3 of them have been accomplished. DuPage Medical Group has stepped up as the naming facility, the naming player of the facility. At this time, this meeting was a second meeting following 2 weeks ago, which ended similar in that the city staff has not had a chance to sit down with the Slammers and DuPage. The main owner of the Slammers is out of town until that first week of July. So there's another third meeting, I guess it would be, to finalize everything on July 16th, when Nick Sigmaka would be back into town, and we would finalize any reports at that time or move acceptance to the full council. Krista announced that off of the IHSA site this past year, the attendance, 2 weeks ago, the attendance for the championship games and the semifinal games had an attendance of 15,298 individuals. And that's my report at the time.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on June 3rd and the minutes of the council meeting held on June 4th, 2019 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 313-19 position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 3 firefighter paramedic positions and 1 account clerk in the police operations division and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 314-19 regular payroll for April 12th through the 25th, 2019, $3,542,994.23. Council Memo 315-19, regular payroll for April 26th through May 9th, 2019, $3,530,246.87. Council Memo 316-19, regular payroll for May 10th through the 23rd, 2019, $3,388,551.05. It's recommended said regular payrolls be approved. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 319-19, issuance of a Class C liquor license, Levy Premium Food Service at Chicagoland Speedway, located at 500 Speedway Boulevard. It's recommended Levy Premium Food Service, located at 500 Speedway Boulevard, be issued a Class C liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, Council Memo 321-19, an ordinance declaring certain properties public nuisances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second, but Mayor, could we have Kendall explain to that young man why some of these homes are declared public nuisances, because they don't all get torn.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I can appreciate the young man's comments regarding the condition of some of the neighborhoods. I think when we bring these forward, we try to do the best job we can to explain the condition of these properties. You'll see in your packet that we go to great lengths to contact the existing owners, work with them to try to bring these properties back. And that fails, and so they end up on the list as you have tonight. One of the things going forward is that we'll, through the comprehensive plan process, and that's where we'll put strategies in place and to address the problem with bringing these properties back. But as they stand now, they are a deterrent to investment in the neighborhoods, and they need to come down oftentimes, sadly.
And a lot of times, it's an absentee landlord that owns these homes, and they're out of town, so in order to get them to come in and comply, that's why a lot of these are declared public nuisances. Unfortunately, that's the way it is now, but I know we are going to be working on a single-family rental ordinance. Jeff Sturr is putting something together with myself and some neighborhood organizations to be brought to the city council. It's going to take a little while to get it done, but we're going to get it done. Thanks, Kendall.
Mayor, question. Yes. Kendall, back when I first came on the council in 2011, and for many years afterwards, there was a program, I don't remember what it was referred to as. Oftentimes, the end product was a young family getting a house, such as one of these, that was remodeled based on, I think, grants or funds from the city. Jeff Gregory, a local real estate agent, was in charge of that from the consumer side. Whatever happened to that?
Yes, you are correct. That was often funded by our Black Grant program, and over the years, those dollars have diminished. So we don't have the current funding to put those projects together. We were going to do one a couple of years ago, and what we found was that the amount of money needed to bring a property back on top of the federal requirement for environmental remediation made it a very expensive proposition. So the funding for those types of programs has sort of diminished at the federal level. We are looking for other sources, other partners to bring that type of programming back, but it will take a concerted effort, I think, from other housing partners to do that level of programming.
And so you're referring to the CDBG money?
The CDBG
Right,
money,
so
yes.
a lot of that went to Evergreen Terrace, $3.5 million. So apparently it was shifted over there by the council.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and so what's left is funding for down payment assistance. I think we will consider some sort of a rental down payment assistance program. And of course, the money is often used for, as Councilwoman Quillman has mentioned, our inspections programs.
Thanks, Kendall.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the young man made very good points about, to me, it's reinvesting into these communities, and I think it'll be a return on the monies. I think just tomorrow the legislative committee is meeting about and I always get these alphabets mixed up, CBDG money, and I believe it's a couple organizations on that. Tomorrow's agenda to be given some of those monies, and I support both of those organizations wholeheartedly. But I think that we should look in the future, in the near future, maybe next year's CDBG money. Did I say it right that time? Into some type of program to help some of these homeowners, because I work with Jeff Sterry Neighborhood Services, and we've met with a couple homeowners, landlords, and the sticking point is getting the finances to bring the house up to code.
Usually doesn't come.
And then they fall further into disrepair. So if there's any way that we could use some of those funds, and I don't know who would make the decision, and if it's even possible with those CDBG monies to do something like that, because some of these houses is just right at that brink. Either, you know what I'm saying, Kendall, you could, if you had the money, you could fix it, or if you don't, it's just at that point where, like you just mentioned, that it's just beyond repair. But some of them, it is at that point that I believe that with some financial assistance, they can be saved. So I would just like us to really take a good look at that.
Yes, we'll take a look at that.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
And Kendall, and thank you, Mr. Grimes, for your comments. I think it's a very good thing to do. We need to reinvest in our communities. And Kendall, I'm wondering if we can forge some type of partnerships with nonprofits that will be able to assist us where the city can't bring in the money, but the nonprofits will be able to partner in that, and we can leverage those dollars as well. So just wanting to know if that could be.
Yes, there are some discussions ongoing now in terms of identifying who those partners could be.
Yes.
One of the things that we haven't done a good enough job of is identifying private dollars as well. Lending institutions that, by their charter, need to reinvest in the community. So we have done some outreach, and I think there's going to be some promising things on the horizon with regards to reinvesting in our neighborhoods from a housing perspective.
Thank you.
I'd like to.
Yes.
I've been involved with Will County Habitat for Humanity for quite a while, and we are doing quite a few rehabs for this type of situation. And I think that's something that we really should look into, because we are always looking for, we don't just always build from the ground up. Oftentimes now we are taking these types of homes and rehabbing them if they're, it's a possibility that they're stable, that we could get another home in, or another family in them.
Yes, Habitat for Humanity is one of the partners that we've been talking to recently.
Was motion and seconded to approve Council Memo 321-19, which is an ordinance declaring certain properties public nuisances. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Kendall, and hopefully you will be able to identify and encourage the right partners. Could we possibly, I mean, it's really set up here. It's not, you do a wonderful job of doing what we ask you to do with the CDBG money and other types of things. Could you put together a report for the next meeting or the meeting after, 2 to 4 weeks, giving us kind of a detailed look at what we've done with the CDBG since 2011?
Certainly.
How it's
yes.
gone up and down, where it's gone, what we've decided to spend it on.
Yeah, we'll have that ready.
Thank you. Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 322-19, ordinances associated with the Boulevard subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the preliminary plan unit development, an ordinance approving the final planned unit development, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of the Boulevard subdivision. It's recommended this council memo be tabled to the July 16th, 2019 council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to table Council Memo 322-19 to the July 16th council meeting. Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 323-19, ordinances associated with Menards Joliet re-subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving the preliminary plat of Menards Joliet re-subdivision, a minor subdivision, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow auto tire installation and repair as part of a proposed tire sales facility located at 2526 West Jefferson Street. It's recommended this council memo be tabled to the July 2nd council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 323-19 to the July 2nd council meeting. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 324-19, an ordinance approving the annexation of 2.81 acres located at 25722 Caton Farm Road, classification to B3, general business zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. It's recommended this item be withdrawn from the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and seconded to withdraw Council Memo 324-19 from the agenda. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 325-19, an ordinance approving the annexation of 40 acres at northeast corner of Route 59 and Theodore Street, classification to B3, general business zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. It's recommended Council Memo 325-19 be tabled to the July 16th, 2019 council meeting.
Motion to table.
We did it again.
So we're in sync.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 325-19 to the July 16th, 2019 council meeting. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
I have a quick question. Krista, when that happens, and it happens quite a bit, and there's a tie between two people saying motion, how do you decide? You just...
I defer to Pauline.
Okay. Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 326-19, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow the installation of an electric security fence as an accessory use for the existing business located at 1965 Terminal Court. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Pauline?
You get a second.
Pauline?
Okay.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
No.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 327-19, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a mini self-storage facility building located at 250 Southeast Frontage Road. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 328-19, an ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget and request for authorization to approve Amendment Number 1 to the contract for municipal enforcement software. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 330-19, a resolution authorizing a CDBG subrecipient agreement with Holston Human Capital Development, NFP. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah. Kendall, I'm sorry, I meant to call you earlier today. I had a question about this. This is going to be on our legislative committee meeting tomorrow? Or this is some,
Not this particular item, no.
so this is from, what, last year? or-
This is from the previous allocation. What's on your agenda for tomorrow is the next action.
For the coming up year for
Correct.
next year? Okay, all right, thank you.
So it was motioned. Is there a second to approve Council Memo 330-19?
Second already.
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 330-19, which is a resolution authorizing a CDBG subrecipient agreement with Holston Human Capital Development, NFP. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 331-19, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement number 19-365007 with the State of Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Tourism Marketing for the Old Joliet Prison Historic Site. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
This is a $22,000 grant that has a matching requirement, but that matching is not coming from the city, correct?
That's correct. The museum is picking up the $22,900 match.
Okay, aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
I'll have to abstain because I'm on the board.
Motion carried.
Nice to eat.
Council Memo 332-19, resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the Will County Stormwater Planning Committee for the Wet Weather Treatment Plant Fire Retention Basin Project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under award of contracts, Council Memo 334-19, purchase water metering equipment. Council Memo 335-19, award of contract for temporary telemetry system, water SCADA. Council Memo 336-19, award of contract for comprehensive benefit consulting broker services. Council Memo 337-19, approve a professional services agreement for administering testing of fire and police promotional exams. Council Memo 338-19, approve a professional services agreement for hiring entry-level firefighter paramedics. It's recommended Council Memos 334-19 through 338-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under amendments, change orders, and payments, Council Memo 340-19 approved change order number 4 for the 2018 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program. Council Memo 341-19 approved change order number 4 for the downtown sanitary and storm sewer improvement project. Council Memo 342-19 approved change order number 1 and final payment for the emergency PO for cleaning 12-inch drain line at the Fairmount and Garvin DWTF. Council Memo 343-19 approved change order number 6 for the Aux Sable and West Side wastewater treatment plants phosphorus removal and expansion project. It's recommended Council Memos 340-19 through 343-19 be approved.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, I was hired in 2015, but I have not taken the opportunity yet to address the council and citizens. So I would like today to take this opportunity to give a short speech and provide a short written state of the city from my perspective since the January 2015 hiring. This is the copy I gave you yesterday. So, as interim city manager and corporation counsel, I have provided benefit to the citizens of Joliet in many ways, including both revenue increases and taxpayer savings. I have also made some very tough decisions along the way, and I do not shy away from making tough decisions. Now, you may or may not agree with all of my decisions, or you may question my motives, and sometimes the citizens even question my motives, but that is my job. The decisions I make and the reasoning behind those decisions, most, in fact, a very large portion, I can discuss, and my door is open. However, there are a very small handful of items that must remain confidential. As city manager and corporation counsel, I have to respect the confidential nature of these matters. I wish I could inform the public about everything. It would make my job a lot easier. As with council and staff also. That said, there is a lot I love about being Joliet's interim city manager and working for the citizens of Joliet. There are countless great things happening in Joliet. Now, it is not my professional nature to boast, brag, or even discuss at length the successes and challenges as interim city manager and corporation counsel. Generally, I let my efforts speak for themselves. The information that I have provided is what I feel is necessary for the duties and the day-to-day requirements for the positions of both corporation counsel and interim city manager, for which I am very proud. For example, all these people here, to me, that is, I think it's embarrassing, but, you know, I'm not a politician, but, that's why I like to sit low sometimes. Okay, going off script. But I feel it is necessary at this point in time to summarize some of my accomplishments and the items I can talk about. It is a handout, and here again are a few copies. That's it.
Next under agenda item is vote to relieve Martin J. Shanahan Jr. of his duties as interim city manager.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make some comments here. I have an idea. All the bad press we've been getting in the newspaper lately, the Mudron 5, it's 5-4 vote, makes us look stupid that we can't come to consensus. And I would ask this council, if we just couldn't come to a compromise, work together as a team, because that's what we are. Citizens elected us to run the city the best way we think is best. And all of you are here tonight and last night, and I'd like to see a show of hands again. Who's here for Mr. Shanahan? I see many employees, so thank you. And those that are opposed, could you raise your hands? Police Department. Okay. Understood. So anyway, a lot of the employees, if you don't like your boss, you wouldn't be here for them if he was such a terrible boss as interim. So I know what's going to take place here today, and I know that I cannot change anyone's mind. But again, I would like to make a compromise with my fellow council folks. Let's work on this. Let's keep him in place right now because, in my opinion, our city is going to look like a disaster. We have all these projects coming up. You can't have someone come in that doesn't know the city, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't have those relationships. And, you know, who's going to do the payroll? Who's going to hire the new firemen? Because there won't be anybody interim until we get someone. And it doesn't send a very good message to somebody out there who wants to do business with us, because they're going to say, what the heck is going on in Joliet that council can't even come together? So I would propose that again to my city council people up here. I don't want a council wars. That was years ago. I experienced some of that, and believe me, it's only bad for the city and sends a bad message to everyone. Citizens are here, you spoke, and I like to do what the citizens like us to do, so I would move to deny this. All right, excuse me, I move to table it.
I will second that.
Table is in order at any time.
Call the roll.
It's been motioned and seconded to table the vote to relieve Martin J. Shanahan Jr. of his duties as interim city manager. Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
No.
Councilman Turk?
No.
Councilman Dickinson?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Vote was 2 ayes, 6 noes. Motion failed.
Any other comments?
Well, I can see that my fellow council people do not wish to compromise or come together as one cohesive group. So there's nothing more that I can say, except I'm really sorry that we can't work together.
I have some comments. Marty, the sheet that you provided yesterday, I want to take some time and read into the record. I think the people of Joliet need to understand the scope of what you've done here, and done with a council that was willing to work together, unlike the situation we have right now. You joined the city in January 2015. Notably, you were hired when Mayor Tom Girani was the mayor. So that may put out some of the Facebook rumors about mine and your relationship. But you worked as a corporation counsel and then twice as the interim city manager, one after the retirement of Mr. Hock and one after the departure of David Hales. So it's a brief list that you put together. You have established legal methods to dissolve 2 sanitary districts that the city now is directing bills to the customers to collect. You've eliminated costly policies for City Hall employees. You've reached agreements with the various fire protection districts on legal issues. You started the procedure for a citywide comprehensive plan. You finalized the 2013 land swap intergovernmental agreement with Metro. You have drafted and negotiated a unit price with Waste Management for waste hauling without immediate price increases. Over the course of the 10-year contract, as compared to the previous pricing, this will save Joliet taxpayers upwards of $50 million. It should be noted that one of the council persons that submitted the email to remove you fought you tooth and nail, and that's a good thing you were here to supersede that council member. You saved the city of Joliet taxpayers $50 million in doing so. With the new contract that you negotiated, we now have weekly recycling, we have at-your-door electronic recycling and household hazardous waste collection. We have city sewage treatment plants and solid waste collection, and we have a $250,000 a year community support grant given by Waste Management to the city of Joliet in years 1 to 5, with a 2% increase in the years 6 to 10. Well done on that contract. You've implemented a truck permit process which was previously non-existent within the city of Joliet. I talked about that in the last state of city speech. With the amount of truck traffic that we have in our city, Prior to 2015, and with the largest intermodal inland port in the entire North American continent, the city of Joliet was not selling or issuing overweight permits. Overweight trucks were allowed to ride freely throughout our city. Marty, you were instrumental in changing that. Thank you. We've collected several $1 million in fees since 2015, not only in selling the permits, but in the overweight truck enforcement, which you also helped initiate. You've implemented administrative adjudication. That move has, the estimates for that will see the city receive upwards of $2 million a year in new revenue. You oversaw the restructuring of the legal department. That move has saved the city upwards of $1 million in reduced settlements and increased collections, and that's in 2 years, a savings of over $1 million. You've eliminated non-essential overtime in the summer of 2017, your first stint as interim city manager. You drafted multi-faced ordinances for an ordinance for dangerous or vicious dogs and implemented a hearing process. In 2019, you reopened the dialogue as city manager with our state legislators. And, with the capital bill that's been passed in Springfield and the money that now is coming for I-80, obviously a lot of people are taking credit for it. And there's a lot of people that deserve credit. You're one of those people. No. I was in those meetings with you. We traveled to Schaumburg. We traveled to Springfield. We traveled downtown Chicago. I traveled to Washington. You were a big part of that. So the money that's been secured is coming to Joliet. A large part of the credit belongs to you, Marty. You have drafted and implemented the Joliet local bidder ordinance. You negotiated land swaps and intergovernmental agreements with Will County. You oversaw the completion of the Riverwalk acquisition litigation, that's Evergreen Terrace. You were the city ambassador for business, advancement, and other civic events. You experienced firsthand Joliet Fire Department dive team as ice exercise and participated with the Joliet Fire Department in their physical agility course. You observed major crime scenes and made hospital visits to injured Joliet police officers. To firsthand visualize the stress that's placed on those officers and our public servants and their needs. You also experienced firsthand snowplow initiation and snow plowing. You saved the city outside of the waste management contract somewhere between $7 and $10 million, or with new revenues that's coming into Joliet. And having read this over quickly, I would add, you also, again, you're not alone, but you were part of the negotiation for the Hobolt Road Bridge, which is a model capital works project going forward, the public-private partnership. You were a major part of those negotiations. And you also currently are negotiating for the levy to protect downtown Joliet businesses in the various east side neighborhoods that have now been zoned into a flood district. I don't know what's going to happen when you leave, because that is not a finished project. Someone else is going to have to come in. I will say that move, and I've heard from downtown businesses, it's costing our downtown businesses and Joliet east side residents millions of dollars. And it's something the city needs to step up on. You were about halfway through with those negotiations. I'm not sure where that's going to go from here. I'm sure, Steve, and I think you could back me up, this is not good for marketing downtown Joliet, which has been a major initiative of this city. So, Marty, it's a short list, but I do want to thank you. I think it represents how effective you've been in your position, both as Corporation Counsel and City Manager, and personally, I want to thank you for it. Two other things I'd like to address, and then I will defer for the vote. We had about an hour and a half executive session last night where this was discussed pretty vigorously by myself and others on the council. I really don't want to rehash most of those comments. I think they were made last night. One thing that I think needs to be cleared up, there was a comment made last night at the meeting, Marty, by one of our citizens, and it was talked about in executive session. We need to address it here. And Chief Al, this also applies to you. A Joliet resident, Marty, accused you of fumbling the matter with a Joliet police officer, 2 officers that have been recommended for termination. That's been said before, and quite frankly, Chief, I'm hearing that more and more directed against you, and I've had to defend both of you, so I'd like to do it publicly. That unfortunate situation with those 2 officers was not your call, Chief Al, and Marty, it wasn't your call. This should have been handled by the prior administration and the prior city manager. They chose to do nothing. You inherited that issue, and Marty, you inherited. It's categorically unfair for anyone to criticize either one of you when you're trying to clean up a mess that you were inherited. So I just want to say that for the record as a compliment to both of you. Finally, one point I do want to address, and Councilman Mudron, this is for you. Again, I'm not going to rehash the hour and a half of last night, but I read last week in the papers, and this was really the first time I was catching wind, Marty, that there was a move to do this. We've discussed the matter of new city manager several times, both in executive session and here at the dais. Matter of fact, Councilwoman Quillen, you were criticized the first night when you tried to have this discussion. There were people on the council who did not want to have a public discussion. But Councilman Mudron, I read a quote from you in the paper, and I'm going to quote what was printed. It was, your words were, "They've done nothing now for close to a month and a half. I don't know that they have any plans to do anything." So my first question is that an accurate quote? Is that what you told the newspaper?
That's what he printed.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to ask in a public forum if you could tell us, when you say they've done nothing and I don't know if they have any plans, who are you referring to when you say they?
The individuals that felt we should not open this up to the process of asking for anyone who feels they could be a city manager from the area or the far distance to give them an opportunity to apply.
Well, I guess you'd be referring to me and the other three council people that wish to hire Mr. Shanahan. So I'll respond to that. Number one, it's factually incorrect. We went over this last night. Anybody can watch the tapes. This matter has been discussed, again, 2 weeks ago, it was discussed at this very dais. Several council people participated in the discussion. You didn't. Councilman Dickinson, you're another ringleader of this. You chose not to participate in that conversation. Instead, you sent emails to Marty Shanahan telling him you wanted this placed on the agenda to fire him, and then you spoke to the media. But what I find troubling about this comment, and maybe it was a slip of the tongue or just an absent-minded comment, I don't know, but my personal opinion, I don't refer to my fellow councilmen as they. I refer to my fellow councilmen as we. Because if this city and this city council is going to be effective, we have to work together. And again, I don't know. I don't want to be judgmental, but that's my opinion. I would point out that we recently had elections. I ran unopposed and won. Every single incumbent, including yourself, won by wide margins. And there's no doubt in my mind that a big part of the reason why that happened is because for the first 4 years I was mayor, we didn't deal with this nonsense. We rolled up our sleeves, got down to business, and did the right things for the city and for the people of Joliet. I'll end it on this. I would urge you, Councilman Mudron, and the others who have taken this position that following this vote, we get back to business, as Councilwoman Quillen has urged, that this doesn't descend into a petty council wars that the media would love, but the people of Joliet are going to suffer. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make several comments. First of all, just to clarify, there are 9 people in the city of 142,000 who are they and responsible from beginning to end with the hiring, the search, anything to do with any position that is the city manager. So with all due respect, Councilman Mudron, you are 1/9 of they. It is not the staff's responsibility, it is ours. It is not the residents' responsibility. They elected us to do it. You are 1/9. If you thought they were moving too slow, why didn't you kick it up a notch? You're 1/9 of they. We are all they. Mr. Gillis, thank you for your comments earlier. You asked the wisest and most important question that cuts through all the other noise in this situation. Why? Was that your question, sir? Thank you. I don't, and members of the media will tell you, they've stopped calling me after executive session meetings, and I'm not one of the people that will leak. I would follow the ethics code, but I think I'm safe in saying this. The mayor's correct. We spent an hour and a half in an executive session last night. You didn't hear any of the 5 that are pushing for this, and it's a democracy. They're allowed to push. They got 5 votes. You've not heard publicly what the explanation is yet, correct? I didn't come out of the executive session with any more information. So it was kind of a wasted hour and a half. Okay? The simple question is, why? Thank you. Why? Now, the mayor said it was factually incorrect to say that we're moving too slowly. Let's do this chronologically. We had the new council sworn in, we introduced a new member to our team, Councilman and Councilwoman Reardon. We didn't do much that first week, because that's traditionally every 4 years what you do after an election, correct? And the mayor suggested to the council, and we agreed, out of respect for the new councilwoman, we should wait until she's sworn in and up and running to approach this subject, or any subject, but this subject particularly. Then, to do the business of the city as the chairman of the Economic Development Committee, I was not here the next meeting, second meeting, meetings in May. I was in Las Vegas at an international convention with a staff member, a very qualified staff member. And out of respect, I think the mayor, and nobody objected, Mayor, am I correct, said,
That's correct.
We'll wait to do this till Hug gets back. I mean, I think I deserve the same respect. So I came back, and we had our next meeting, only other meeting besides tonight, and that was June 3rd and 4th. We did not discuss it on June 3rd at the pre-council or workshop meeting. We went in executive session that night. Then we discussed it on June 4th, Tuesday, at the formal council meeting. And several of the people up here spoke. 2 or 3 chose not to participate in the public discussion. So we're back to why. And it was determined through a democratic process that evening that the 4 who wanted to just simply elevate Marty to permanent from interim lost. That happens. When you're governing, when you're part of any organization or board that needs to govern, you have an agenda that you think's the right one for the people you represent. Other people think opposite. You vote, and guess what? We lost. It was established on June 4th that we would start the process forward, and then we had a couple of possible conflict of interest that we needed to address. One of the things that we needed to address in addition to the conflict of interest is, if you're going to push the guy out, do you have somebody lined up? Because remember the old saying, those who fail a plan to fail. So that was June 3rd. What is today's date?
June 18th.
18. The 15 days? 14 days? 2 weeks is too slow. Let me see. When we hired Mr. Hack, was that 7 months? Right. What about Mr. Hales? 6 months? We can go backwards. So again, I don't understand, and I think none of you owe me an explanation up here. I'm a nobody. I'm just one of 9. You owe these folks an explanation. You owe Marty's family and him an explanation, but more importantly than him, he's here. He joined the staff. It is government, and with that comes some pitfalls. The folks that have showed up here, that means something to me, want an explanation. They want to know what you mean by too slow, and more importantly, they want the one question is, why? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Larry had asked the question that I wanted to know, what I thought I would get last night in executive session, the reason I wanted to go in executive session. And I believe that we will move beyond this one way or the other. This ain't the first time that a vote, if you remember the Love truck stop, I came out on the wrong end of that. But we still move forward. And Jen, I believe this council, we would do the same here. But I just thought that we would come together in closed sessions and discuss personnel like we've always done. But and when we had the vote not to elevate Marty to a full city manager, a permanent city manager, I was okay. I'm okay with going out nationwide, citywide, whatever wide, if that's what the majority wanted. We work together. But then for you all to go, and I'm not saying behind anyone's back, but to say, hey, we're going to fire Marty. And that's fine if that's what the majority decide to do. And tomorrow we will still work together with whomever. It was the 2 things I wanted to know that I didn't get an answer for, was the why and who's going to take his place. And I said the night we went in there, when we didn't select Marty to move forward, I was surprised he stayed. I would have quit that night with a few choice words. But that's all I got.
And I tell you that, I guess it's my time to talk, because I am on the opposing end. And the reason why I am on the opposing end, when I took the oath of office to represent the residents of Joliet, to honor the U.S. Constitution and the state of Illinois Constitution, I was always open to open and transparent government from day one. And I'm still that today. I have nothing against Mr. Shanahan in this piece. I told Marty we have had several conversations as to why I am voting on this vote to remove him. He has an equal opportunity to come back. All I want is an open, transparent government. And to your question back there as to why, that is why, because that is my statement. I took that oath. I was for open government before. If it wasn't Marty's position, it could have been anybody else's position. But I still want the best qualified person to represent this city. Marty has done amazing. You heard his credentials and everything. You've heard that. He's worked well. We have worked well. This is not the first time that this council has disagreed. But let me assure you, there is no council war here. I have been labeled a little of everything. And you know, I'm a tough old bird, so it doesn't bother me. But I have been labeled a union buster. I've been labeled a leaker, a part of a coup, or whatever. I am my own independent person. I'll stand in my truth, and I will speak my truth. Marty can apply for this job. If Marty rises up over everybody else, that's fine with me. But I want the best qualified person to sit in that seat as city manager for the third largest city in the state of Illinois. We deserve it. You residents deserve it. And so that is why I vote independently. I'm not a part of the, what did they call us the other day? The Mudron Five. That ain't me. I am Betty Gavin. I will always be, and I will always stand in and speak my truth. And right now, my truth is to vote no. That's me.
Motion and seconded to relieve Martin J. Shanahan Jr. of his duties as interim city manager. Did we want to add an effective date so it would be clear for when that would take effect?
We have a deputy city manager whose duties call for him to step up if we don't have a city manager, so I would say immediately.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Is that in his duties, written in his duties? I'm unclear on that, Chris. Not that he won't, I'm just wondering if that's written in his duties for him to do that.
The deputy city manager will serve in the stead of the city manager upon his absence or removal.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Councilman Mudron, that was your motion for immediately. Does the
Yes.
second still stand for Councilman Turk, then immediately?
Second.
So motion and seconded to relieve Martin J. Shanahan Jr. of his duties as interim city manager effective immediately. Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Mudron?
Yes.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Before I submit my vote, I just want to say I misspoke when I said police department, because there are a lot of police department a lot of the police are here. It was just a few people that were here that voted against, so I don't want to chastise the whole department because I know a lot of you are here in support of him. So I absolutely, I took an oath as well. And when the citizens come and want something, knowing that this young man has been on a 14-month open interview, he's the best one that we have. You all know what happened with the other one that we went out for and was not vetted properly, and it was a disaster. So having said all that, Marty, you've been fantastic. You're the best candidate we have here, and it's going to be a big waste of time. And I don't know that we'll ever get over all this, but there's your best candidate right there. I would vote no.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Just a couple comments. You know, I've talked to every member of this council. I respect every member of this council. I don't expect council wars. I don't remember council wars, but I do. Okay. Well, your memory is better than mine. We can disagree up here and walk out, and as far as I'm concerned, it's over, and we move on to the next issue. In closed session last night, I thought I said quite a bit, and I thought that I gave my reasons. And I'm not going to discuss personnel issues in public. It's not fair, it's not proper, it's not the thing to do. And if somebody didn't hear those reasons, the why, I don't know why, if they weren't listening or it got emotional in there, maybe everybody was geared up, but I expressed my opinion. I vote aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Those who fail to plan to fail. Steve, you are wearing two hats and have, thankfully for several years, a couple of years. You're the primary responsibility is Economic Development Director, and you've done a wonderful job. And then you're Deputy City Administrator, City Manager. Are you going to step into this?
It was talked about earlier that the job description of the deputy city manager is to fill in when the manager is unavailable, absent, away, or in this case, basically removed. So it's my job duty to do what I can to fulfill the role of that office until another interim or a permanent is selected. So the answer is yes.
Okay. So what we have here, folks, is over $1 billion in projects that are in the pipe, coming into the pipe, or being spit out the successful end of the pipe. I can say over $1 billion because $900 million is calling in. $900 million, almost $1 billion, one project that we've been able to bring through the hard work of certain members of this council, of the city manager and the economic development director. I fully believe that the economic development director and the city manager are two completely separate, demanding full-time jobs. Does anybody disagree? So our economic development director is now going to turn his attention away from $1 billion in projects to cover your guys' lack of planning. I hope we don't lose that over $1 billion, folks. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. No.
Motion carried 5-3.
Mayor,
Yes,
can I just say something real quick?
yes.
I didn't step down, when I saw this on because I stood by my record. I'm not leaving. I'm going back to the legal department. I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every member of council for allowing me to be interim city manager. I'm going to miss it. I want to thank my wife, Gabriella, who supported me through all of this and supported my decision to see this through. I want to thank my daughter, Nina, who incidentally, she is not interested in politics. I know my other two boys, all they know is that they spent the evening in the big city and they are hungry, so I'm not going to talk too much more. Just want to thank the department heads who supported me and the employees of Joliet. I want to thank all the supporters who said kind words on my behalf. It was very unexpected. I want to thank the silent majority in chambers for showing up to support me. I welcome the challenge of the upcoming interview process, whatever that may be, and I look forward to being a candidate for city manager.
Now that's integrity right there.
Thank you.
Next is new business, not for final action or recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may. New business. Kendall, could you and staff research the information for the disparities study that we will need to go into the diversity committee meeting? And also, please include Jim Gadati, our finance guy, once you be able to get into research that, and then we'll set up a meeting for that to answer some questions from the residents.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yes. Two requests. I voted yes, and some people who don't understand the details might be surprised, as I'm not a supporter of the prison project and what's cost the city. But I got the assurances the money was coming from the museum. Okay. Now, we have a liaison to the museum and the Rialto, and while we don't have direct control over both, because they are separate nonprofit entities, we give them a boatload of money. I've not had a committee report, or the equivalent of, from liaisons in 4 years. I would like to add 2 more additional every month, or as often as they have meetings, and I would hope they're having meetings every month, as they're trying to reduce the amount they're trying to get from us to be self-sufficient. I would like the liaisons for the Rialto and the museum to report every month, just like the rest of us do with our committees.
Any objection?
I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want, so the process, what happens now? I don't know.
Good question.
For the city manager.
Are we done with the new business?
Well, we're on it right now.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
that's not under new
no,
business?
it's new business. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Terry, you're correct.
It's old business, but it's new business.
Steve, you stepped in, but you're not going to do this for long, is that correct?
It's my responsibility to basically act as manager, as I said, until council either appoints a permanent manager or another intern who will take on that sole role. So, I mean, I serve at the pleasure of the council, and certainly, short or long, please make it short.
So it's a valid question. For the 5 who engineered this, what do we do now?
I'd like to ask for a special city council meeting Friday at 1:30 to talk about the hiring of interim city manager James Hock.
He was here already.
Interim, I said.
It's coming Friday?
It's coming Friday.
Well, I can't make 1:30 on Friday.
Not 1:30, we got jobs, Pat.
It's okay.
So let's do it in the evening like all these council meetings are. Or is
Mayor
it something you want to
Mayor
switch through
can't
at
do it.
5?
I can't
Mayor
do
can't do
Friday
it Friday.
evening.
There you go.
Let's taste
Just thought this out ahead of
I
time,
understand.
Joe.
We want the position filled, we need to have a meeting.
I don't want to fill.
We have it filled with Steve.
No longer.
Steve, Joe.
Steve, you're right, but Steve asked to get out as quick as possible.
Steve said he would be there until we ready for him to leave. He just said that.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you just said, Steve? But you would like it to be short. Is that, I didn't hear you well. Say it again, Steve.
And I said it in a joking fashion, but I'm absolutely serious about, I mean, I'm here to serve the council. I think from a management team perspective, we need to do a little bit of healing after tonight's action. And short, long, I'm here to help this organization move forward and to basically get you to where you want to be with your goals. Again, I would prefer short, but again, you know, you've gone through kind of a vexing process here. I'm sure that there's a little bit of healing to do in the council level. So whatever time frame you folks need, I'm here for you. So don't look at this as, you know, my joke about keep it short as being some sort of a, you know, a serious requirement. I mean, certainly you have things that you have to come to consensus on, and I will do whatever it takes to help you get there.
Monday or Tuesday evening next week, would that be an issue? When we normally have council meetings?
To have a special meeting to bring Mr. Hawk. And again, I have no problem with Mr. Hawk. I supported Mr. Hawk when we hired the last city manager, 100%. But he just said he would do it until we hire a permanent city manager. I don't understand that.
I believe he said until we hire an interim or a permanent.
Or a
And
permanent.
he'd like
But
to
why
do
do we need to hire an interim when he's the deputy city manager? He's stepping up because we removed Marty, and we're going to hire a permanent city manager.
Since those were my words, let me clarify. Interim city manager, and when I mentioned or a permanent, I mean there's nothing that would prevent the council from hiring a permanent manager within the next couple of weeks too. So would I prefer to be around for 7-8 months in this role while a search goes on? You know, the answer is no. Would I, you know, certainly be here to serve as you find your next interim or a quick permanent? The answer is yes. So hopefully that clarifies. Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion then for Monday evening at 5:30. Monday, the the 24th, I guess.
I don't know what my calendar is, but I'll second.
Motion is seconded to plan a special city council meeting for Monday, June 24th at 5:30.
Question, Mayor.
Yes.
Has somebody been in contact with Mr. Honk already?
Talked to him this morning.
Did you? Just this morning? Huh? Just this morning, huh? He lives in Florida, doesn't he?
It's in Michigan.
Make sure you five have a list of expenses on doing this, because I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on this.
We'll be in the boat, Larry.
I'm part of they, Pat, part of they. Maybe you would join us.
This motion is seconded to plan a special city council meeting for June 24th at 5:30. Councilman Mudrin.
I have one other question, I'm sorry.
Fine.
In order, so you, let me say this first. I won't be here next week because I'm gonna be on vacation and I'm not postponing it for this because you already had the 5 votes anyway, so I don't even know why we're doing that. But anyway.
There you go.
So when is Mr. Hawk, you are looking to hire Mr. Hawk? Monday?
It's up to the committee.
There you go, Steve. You, real short. Real short. Okay. I just wanted to know, and to let you know I won't be here. And it's not because I'm not, don't want to be a part of the process, but I'm going on vacation and I'm not changing it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Your vote.
Aye.
Oh,
Is that what you're calling for?
yes.
Yes. Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
No.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
No.
Motion carried 6-2. There will be a special city council meeting on Monday, June 24th at 5:30 p.m.
New business, Pat?
None.
Jan?
Just very quickly, the Water Commission has met, and Mr. Herco, Dr. Herco was here last night with some comments that they want to put the brakes on things and need some guidance. And another member of that committee also called me today. And what they would like to do is, instead of doing all of these research and looking at all these other companies that are involved, they want some direction from the council if we can just go for the Lake Michigan water and go with that, rather than wasting more time vetting all these other places out. Because it seems that the consensus there, and we talked about it too that day when we had those special meetings, that Lake Michigan was the way to go, because some of the rivers, they depend on levels, water levels. And Allison, you mentioned last night, was it the Aqua, what was the name of that company?
Aqua, Illinois.
Right. So they weren't very happy with that either. So just I'm going to put it out there. Maybe you can put it on the next agenda or whatever, legislative, but they want some direction.
I think, Allison, before, no one wants to undercut you or Nick Gornick. You've done a
No,
terrific
right.
job in this. So before we make any decision, we certainly probably should meet with the committee.
Right. I'm just putting it out there that they want us to meet with them and go further and, do some more research before we spend any more money doing other
Councilwoman and Mayor, Allison, didn't you say yesterday something about doing a second one?
Yes, so I'm already looking at calendars to
Okay.
schedule
So we're in process.
another joint
Okay,
workshop
good.
between the...
But I was asked to just
That's
put it out
fantastic.
there.
No, you clarified it for everybody.
Okay?
Thank you.
That's it.
Sherry?
Good.
Mike?
Nothing.
I have nothing.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments?
Gabriella Shanahan, Expedition Street, Joliet, Illinois. Marty, I just want to tell you that I am so incredibly proud of you and that I love you.
Good evening, Marjorie Allen, 405 Cowles, and I address you today about my situation. I was a teacher in the Joliet schools, and things happened in the Joliet schools, and the schools were not open and transparent, and they're still not open and transparent. And And they need to be. And when I go to the school board meeting, or when I first went in this last round, and they don't know who I am, and I walk in and I tell them I used to work in schools and things happened and there was abuse, and they don't ask me a question. Not one of them asked me a question. I'm just told my time is up. And it's just not proper. Furthermore, I find myself now in a situation where it's like I'm gonna be homeless and I don't have any food or anything. And that doesn't seem right either to me, because people who were improper with the students are enjoying a nice fat retirement at taxpayer expense. So I don't know, I'm out of ideas, I don't have anyone helping me. I don't know what to do, maybe hold a sign outside the school district. I don't know what to do. But I heard, coming over here, I heard Eric Clapton's Change the World, which is what I wanted to do when I became a teacher. And let's see. You also talked about, well, maybe I'll just scratch that. But when I was trying to get help for the students back and when this all happened, and lady said, man, all these students just fell through the cracks. And this is what's happened to me now. I've fallen through the cracks, and I need help. And so I guess I just have to let the public know, because I just know that the citizens would not want me to live this way if they knew what happened and if they knew what I went through. And certainly I want the students to know that I fought for them. You know, I hear the national conversation about people deserve dignity at work and a fair pay and all this. You know, the students deserve nice schools, and I deserved a nice place to work at. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
First of all, I'd like to say peace be with everyone. I didn't know I was going to step into such firewood tonight, is what I have to say. Because really, I come to encourage the city to move forward. But point out a problem, I don't want anyone to take it personal. All my intentions are positive. After the fall of the Third Reich soldiers, police who executed the horrors of the Holocaust, their claim was, in the defense of the Nuremberg trial, their claim was that they were just following orders. As such, they denied that they should be held to any moral, human, or even intelligent standards for their actions. As long as they just follow orders, as long as they follow protocol, go by the book, go by the book. We will not hold the police accountable for their actions. We will not hold them to any moral standard. We will not hold them to any human standard. We will not even hold them to an intelligent standard. They are not hired to think. They are not hired to feel. They are hired to follow protocol. They are hired to go by the book. They are hired to follow orders. The book that the police go by is the book that you write. It is the protocols that you establish and sign off on. And it will determine if Joliet will be a trend follower or a trend setter. You have to have the moral standard. You have to have the human standard and the intelligence standard. You have to exercise moral leadership and establish the moral conscience of the contents of the book. For you are the designers of the protocol, and it is you who will determine if Joliet will be a follower or a trendsetter. The police misconduct and police murder of civilians throughout the nation does not happen on a large scale in Joliet. And I have often spoken highly of the police in Joliet because of the low rate of such police misconduct compared to other cities. But to continue to protect the integrity of the Joliet police, you must remove all hiding places for the bad police, for the bad apple. You must remove those hiding places because they will mask misconduct under the disguise of going by the book. More important, you must have the moral integrity to protect the integrity of the book that they go by. I appeal to your moral integrity. I appeal to your moral conscience. I appeal to the higher regions of your human excellence, of your individual human excellence, and your collective human consciousness, your collective moral consciousness. Because you make the moral decisions as to whether or not the police of Joliet will function from a factor of insensitivity and fear of certain ethnic species in this city, if it will follow a trend of exerting excessive violence on or kill that which it fears by ignoring the humanity of any of your constituents. Do you want the police of Joliet to function as a mindless robot bereft of any moral conscience? Or do you want the Joliet police to function as a moral being, displaying the grandness of their human excellence that we know is in the heart of the men and the women that fill its ranks? Do you want the Joliet police to follow the trend of the nation? Do you know what the trend of the nation is right now? Or do you want the Joliet police to be a trendsetter? And I tell you, that Joliet does not have to follow the trend of the nation. I tell you that Joliet can be a trendsetter. Joliet can set the moral standard for moral policing in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk first, and then Kathy has something to say. When you don't say why you're doing this, really why you're doing this, it can lead to a lot of speculation. Maybe it's not deserved. I don't know. But when you don't say why, it makes people wonder, are votes bought? Are favors traded? Is this a power play? I don't know if any of that's true. I'm not accusing you, but that's what it leads to when you don't come out and say why. Now, you told him to go and reapply for this position, but what chance does he really have when he reapplies as a fired person? How will this affect his ability to find other future work should he not reapply and try and go somewhere else? Please think about this. Now, I'm a fourth-generation union member. I was also an officer in my union when I was in it. My family's been here 7 generations, when Joliet was still Juliet, 170 plus years. I cannot speak for everyone here, but if I were a betting person, and I think a lot of these other pro-union folks are not going to forget how you voted tonight. Maybe you think it's going to be okay in 2 years, or in 4 years for some of you, but I don't think they're going to forget. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they're going to forget. Now, I've campaigned for some of you. I've put your signs in my yard, and I cannot tell you how disappointed I am by the shenanigans tonight. Thank you.
I just want to echo that why. I still don't have that answer. I know that you can't tell us everything that is said in executive session, but we're taxpayers. We live here. We have a right to know why. You're taking someone out who's doing a near perfect job, and then you've got levies to worry about, billion-dollar deals, everything. This is not a responsible action, and I'm extremely disappointed. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Next is mayor and council comments.
No. Ms. Gannon, trust me, Marty will land on his feet. Smart man with high integrity, and there are other communities out there that have a majority of smart people on their boards.
I'll let you talk about the helmet at the fire department.
Sure. Sherry?
No.
Wait. Okay, I have a number of items. Number one, June 6th, Cornerstone had their annual art show. I've said this before. I wish Cornerstone would let us know so we could promote that. Great event. It's great to see the Cornerstone recipients put their talent on display and actually earn some money from the sale of the art. And it's really impressive, some of the pieces that are there. So thank you, Cornerstone. That same weekend, we had the IHSA tournament here in Joliet. That was mentioned. Krista Desiderio, you led the city workers who volunteered all weekend. Thank you. And thank you to all the city workers that were out there working. That Friday night, New Orleans North was a great success in downtown Joliet. I think over 10,000 people. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce, Mary Jaworski, Mike Payon, and to everyone who volunteered for that. On June 8th, there was the opening day at Joe Bellman Field on Henderson Street on the east side. A number of council people were there. Thank you for supporting that. On June 8th, we also had the beginning of the Fairview demolition for the older police officers who are here. Remember that the heydays of those housing projects and they're now being demolished. Congressman Foster was present that day. Councilwoman Coleman and Gavin, you also were up there and helped in the demolition. So thank you to Housing Authority for their work. June 9th, that was Sunday, there was a Pause in 66 event in downtown Joliet. I don't have a number of people. I can say safely it was about twice the size as it was the year before. So like New Orleans North and the other downtown events that we're having, they're growing every year. Thank you to the Pause in 66 people. That same day, on Sunday the 9th, Phantom Fitness had a ribbon cutting. That's on North Scott Street. June 11th, IDOT had the open house at Harvey Brooks. Councilman Morris, I know you were there. I think other council people were too. That was IDOT shared their future plans for I-80 and specifically for the Des Plaines River Bridge. June 13th, DA's Deli and Diner ribbon cutting on Black Road had a ribbon cutting. June 14th was the Joliet Fire Department helmet smashing event. Councilwoman Quillman, you were there. You could fill in the blanks because I had to leave early on that.
Well, I did too, but what it was a young man was rescued by 4 of our Joliet fire department. It was Ike Holzer, Parenti, I forget the other 2 names, and I apologize. Chief, do you know? I mean, you don't know him. I'm sorry.
I was there.
The other 2 were who, Mark?
Oh, yeah, just give me a second.
As you're getting their names, I'll explain it. These people live in Naperville. The young man, 32 years old, was in a terrible car accident. They didn't think he was going to make it, so they had to remove part of his skull. He was rushed to surgery at Amita St. Joe's now over here, our hospital. Anyway, so what they do in Chicago, when you've had type of brain surgery and they remove part of your skull, you have to wear a helmet for so many months until the swelling goes down and your brain heals. So the piece of skull they took out, they put back so he doesn't have to wear the helmet anymore. So there's these, in Chicago, when you do neurosurgery like that, they have a big, it's called a helmet crushing party. And this young man wanted to do it, and he did it at Station 8 with the 4 firemen that rescued him. And if not for their skill in saving this young man, he wouldn't be here today. So then they had the Jaws of Life. They gave it to him, so he was able to ceremoniously crush his helmet so he didn't have to wait anymore. So Marty, you want to tell the names?
It was Parenti, Miller, McGuire, and Ike Holzer.
Yes,
those were the
Ike
4.
Holzer. And so they had a little ceremony at Station 8. And just before the ceremony was to begin, they got a call, so we had to wait until they came back. But thank goodness it wasn't anything that serious. So,
Well, thanks for your attendance, and Marty, you were there, and thanks to the firemen. Great job by Joliet Fire Department. Yesterday, there was another ribbon cutting at Versiti Blood Center on West Jefferson Street, and there were 2 other ribbon cuttings that I missed last week. On Friday, June 14th, Pastor Posley Art Gallery at 220 staff for all the new business you continue to bring into our city. And that's all I have.
There, I have one more comment, I forgot.
Sorry.
Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday is the Pride Parade in Joliet. It starts at noon and till when, guys? Noon till 4, downtown Joliet. I'm sure it'll be a very colorful day. So come on down. It'll be a very good, fun event. That's it.
Jen, isn't that at By Park?
It's at Bicentennial.
Oh, is it Bicentennial Park? I'm sorry.
I don't know that it's a parade.
Originally, was it downtown?
It's a function of By Park. Right.
And then it's at Bicentennial Park and, sorry, second part?
It's a festival.
It's a festival.
All right, well, anyway, we got the word out there. Bicentennial Park.
That's not this weekend.
No, it's the following Saturday.
This weekend's Taste of Joliet. Next weekend is your event and the NASCAR event at the track. So a lot happening in town.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.